everyone. Welcome to the Future Scale podcast, a podcast created for you to hear the authentic stories of individuals within the marketing space. My name is Unveiling, and today I have a friend of mine that I've known for long, who was a colleague in the marketing space. Her name is Jennifer. Jen, welcome to my podcast, darling.
Thanks and tubs.
I'm very excited to have a conversation with you. For starters, I would like you, like any other engagement, for you to introduce yourself, tell people who you are, what you're about. And then after you've done that, I am going to lay the scene for you, and post that scene, I'd like you to take the baton and actually run with it and tell us your story.
I'm Jennifer. I am co-founder of Live Communications. It's an agency that sort of offers 360 from above the line, below the line, and digital. And I'm a mom of one, so that's always a thing when you're a business owner and a mother and everything else. And but I suppose life is all about balance and the excitement that comes with marketing and the excitement that comes with good marketing.
Yes, the depth of marketing.
Yes.
So, Jen, here's the scene. Picture 20 little Ntabi things who are interested in the field of marketing, and they want to hear Jen's story. And out of that story, they have to be teachable moments. The little Ntabi things want to hear the different phases of your story, because they aren't always great stories to tell within marketing. And we want to hear about the sweat, tears, the depressions,
nervous breakdowns,
but we also then want to hear the story about the phoenix rising, right? And what it took for the phoenix to rise within this field. But also another important thing to consider is, when you started this journey, who gave you that opportunity to start this journey? Is it a person? Is it a thing? And what is it about that thing that believed that Jennifer would be what she is right now?
So, Ntabi, with the start of this journey, I think I was quite delusional. I was very young. I was 24 when I started the agency. I kind of had no idea what I was in for. And I mean, the first probably 6 years were super hard. It was, we had very small clients, and it was a case of like these tiny little projects, and one after the and it almost seems in the world of marketing, the smaller the project, the harder the work. So
it's so true.
So we were running like little hamsters on a wheel, but like kind of not getting anywhere. And I actually took a little bit of a break from the agency for a bit. And I came back into it full force. And I was like, and I think for me at that life stage, I had a very different outlook, and it almost a lot more grown up and a lot more sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like worldly. So understanding the business better, understanding how to get the best out of people, how to get the best out of clients, and also how to say no. Because important. I think when you're young, you kind of just go yes to everybody, and it's to your own detriment. Whereas I think you get to a point in your career where you go, I don't want to do that. And I don't agree with you. And I think for me now at this life stage is that a lot of my clients appreciate that, because I will say to them, because I understand what they need and how they need it, I will say no. But never say no and then not have a solution. You've got to have that solution. You've got to go, guys, I don't agree with this because I think this is going to work better. In marketing, like you have to pay your dues, and that's my biggest life lesson, is you've got to pay your dues before you just go, I can do this.
True.
Because I think, like you have these wild dreams and all of the stuff, and then you come to realize that like it's not about the wild dreams, it's about putting in the work and sort of understanding everything better. And it's like I say to everybody, I said every day is a school day. Every day there's something to learn. And it doesn't matter if you are 24 or 44, every single day is a school day. And I think with the way sort of technology and everything is just going at super speed, we got to keep up. We got to, there's guys in the agency that were born in like 2000, and I'm like,
I know that.
I'm like, are you even allowed to work? Isn't that child labor? But apparently not. So, it's like keeping up with these guys and all the social media platforms and the digital platforms and the coding and the this and that, but still, even with all of those things, you still need that connection. And we're not going to connect with everybody. We are all very different people, but if we tell a story that can connect with this group of people and another story that's relevant to another group of people, I think that's where connections start getting built. So it's not about a campaign in a box, because it's not that anymore. It's a case of going, we have multiple boxes, we have multiple connection points, we have multiple drivers. We all have as mothers, we may have a lot of the same angst,
yes,
but then we also have a lot of different angst. I was speaking to one of the moms her son goes to a private school. The non-working moms, she calls them the Lorna Janes. Because they always arrive in their cars and their Lorna Janes and stuff like that. And those women have different angst, but they still have the same baseline as every other mother. I'm using this as an example, but I think, when we look at any kind of campaign or any kind of story we're going to tell, we have a baseline, but there are certain nuances that you've got to pick up for the different markets.
Correct.
And I think that's where, successful, it's not a spray and pray anymore.
Yeah.
We have access to data. We have access to all of these tools.
Yes. And,
it's all fair and well brand building on billboards and brand building on TV, but they're expensive brand building platforms.
Very, very. But the nice thing about it is that with it having multifaceted channels,
yes,
the ones that, if you can't afford the ones that are expensive, they are ones that you can afford that are not so expensive.
100%.
And it depends on where your market is and how you strategize around that.
But also, it's a case of even with like budgets and stuff like that, look at the best way you can spend that budget. Look at the best way you can connect with your specific audience. Some things might be on activations, some things might be social media, some things might be a TikTok campaign, for example. I know personally, I flick through those ads very quickly to find all the funny stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're telling the right story, even on a TikTok or an activation or whatever the case is, you're going to connect with that customer. Yeah. It's something simple like an activation. It's not about giving away caps and T-shirts.
Thank goodness.
It really isn't, because there's no return on investment.
Yes.
And I know that it's a physical thing that you can't necessarily measure.
Yeah.
But you still want to create some kind of brand connection.
Correct. Yes.
And I've embedded some kind of imprint on this person with my brand and with the story my brand is telling, and how I can connect to that person's everyday life.
Yeah.
I'm not this person telling you what to do.
Correct.
I'm connecting with you on your level, in your life, in your environment.
And I understand what your problem is. And
Yes.
I'm trying to solve for that. Correct.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've touched on a number of things. And the way in which you're speaking just shows that you're somebody that has been in the industry for quite a long time, right? But I'm interested to hear about this story of you starting off, right? You mentioned you started the business when you were 26, didn't really work out, took a break, then you came back. But as somebody who's starting off within marketing, I might not necessarily have an ambition of owning an agency. All I want to do is, I know that I'm passionate about marketing. What exactly in marketing, I don't know, because maybe of what I'm seeing out there. Maybe I was influenced by an ad that I saw and I thought, oh, this is cool. I definitely want to get into it.
Yeah.
What story would you tell me which I'd be able to carry with me throughout my journey of being a marketing intern who then becomes a marketing manager, senior manager, and CMO at some point?
With marketing, it's a very different kind of job, because it's the theory, it's the emotion, it's the physical, because there's so many touch points in marketing. I mean, you walk into a shop, there's packaging. You driving down the road, there's billboards, there's all these things. And I think, as a young marketer, it's about authenticity, personally and in a business perspective. Because if you're authentic to what you want and how you want to do things, improve things from a personal point of view, and driving that into the business, I think that's where you're going to win, because the minute you start, it becomes a reward for yourself. Like, I've achieved this, but it's true to what I've wanted. It's true to what my job has wanted. So there was a thing that you mentioned in the email before we had the interview about awards. And like, for me, the biggest thing is that most of the awards are about other agencies patting other agencies on the back. And that's, for me, it's like, it's not being authentic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of agencies approaching clients just before award dates to go, can we do this ad? Can we flight it? And then they can enter it as an award. That's not authentic. It becomes very false and very fake. And I think, like, doing your job in an authentic way and also having authentic results is important. It's very important to me. That whatever we do, it's not smoke and mirrors. It's we're doing this to drive sales, to drive brand, to drive uptake, whatever the brief may be. It's important. It's important to be authentic and real.
So I'm going to get into that controversial statement that you made, because I like controversy.
Watch all the other agencies be like, we're not speaking to her anymore.
I mean, you've picked up that when awards are given, it's not really about the true essence of the job, but more around maintaining or sustaining a relationship with another agency. How does one go about in maybe maneuvering around that? Because if I want to be authentic to myself and the work that I produce, and I have no interest in patting you in the back when I know that your work is not necessarily the best work ever, how do I then go about in creating some form of success for me, the authentic thinker and the authentic storyteller that produces authentic results? Because I agree with you. It's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is that we are not necessarily telling authentic stories as marketers anymore. We are patting each other in the back, but what am I really patting in the back for?
So I think, Ntavi, there's got to be a balance between the story and the job that needs to be done. So we've got to be realistic in the sense that we're here to sell stuff. Okay, so our job is essentially, and it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a bar of soap or if it's, I don't know, milk. We're here to sell that thing, you know. So I think that what's nice about the sort of stories is that those connect the product, the thing, to the person. So, for example, I love whatever it is, blah, 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 soap, and, you know, I will tell you about it. Word of mouth, okay? So for me, stories have become word of mouth on steroids. Because I'm trying to tell you, and I think, you know, with social media and digital platforms, I think it's become a necessity to tell those stories, to get that word of mouth out in a realistic way. I mean, I can't be like, Tabby saying this is the soap and this is what it does and blah 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 blah, because that's not authentic. It's you know, like a lot of the stories that we tell for clients or we shoot for clients and stuff like that, we don't script the person. It's your words.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me exactly how you feel and how this has improved your life and what you love about it and what all of those kinds of things. It's not about me going, Tabby Singh, you need to tell me that this bottle of water is amazing, because that's not authentic and it's not real and it's not a story.
I'm set on the authentic stories, and I'm set on connecting with people, and I'm set on ensuring that word of mouth gets me the brand awareness and ultimately the conversion that I want. But as with any human being, and I think which is what is happening right now, you need that affirmation when you are in a particular industry, and everybody wants to be called the guru of marketing. And if I'm now going against, I don't know, I'm going against a set path that all my other counterparts are taking, and I'm deciding I'm going to be a rebel and actually stick to the true sense of marketing, how am I going to get the awards that I want? How am I going to get the big clients that I want? Or how am I going to be promoted to be a senior marketing person? Because I'm not getting the rewards or acknowledgement from my peers as I should.
So I think results is a big thing. So if you believe in what you're doing and how you're doing it, and if you believe in the campaign you're bringing to life, I think, you know, it will show in results. It will. You know, we've got so many ways to now measure return on investment. We've got so many ways to measure people viewing your stuff. We've got so many, like there are millions and millions of platforms, programs.
Which is fantastic for marketing now, because you can report on your ROI.
But that's exactly it. And I think, you know, there are awards in our country that reward the results. But there's other awards that kind of they're kind of like fluffy or whatever the case is.
Where are these awards that are being handed out? Because I mean, I'm not going to mention the
no names mentioned.
Yes, the ones that are just in our faces because they've just happened recently, and now we know this person or this group got this because they are so amazing. And when you do your research on the amazing stories,
there's a place for everything and everyone. That's what we got to.
So that's the lesson around the bomber.
Yes. So there's a place for everything and everyone. I mean, for me personally, I want to give my clients results. I'm not, and even from a personal perspective. Oh my goodness. For me, things are black and white. So the fluffy and the grey is not where I want to play. I want to play in the black and white, where have we achieved the results? Yes, no. that's better for me. And like you're saying, there's 20 little and tubby sayings. It depends on what that person wants. Depends on what they want to achieve. Do they like the grey area of the fluffy and all of that kind of stuff, or do they want to go, I achieved 120% more than I was meant to. You know, like, and that for me is each to their own. You've got to say that, each to their own, because, you know, Sarah would like to work with agency A who wins fluffy awards and this and that because it's beautiful and it's pretty and all of that kind of stuff. But then somebody like Fred will want to work with somebody that is literally, here's the results and these are in black and white. Here you go. This is what we've done and achieved and sold and uptakes and all of that kind of stuff.
That we made a difference.
Yeah, we made a difference. We've moved the needle.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about just what you and I are talking about, the authenticity of marketing and the ability to tell long-lasting stories that we were exposed to when we studied marketing, and what influenced us to be very passionate about marketing. And he then said to me, but you want to create depth in a space that is not necessarily interested in depth. How are you going to put your brand out there when you've got so many competitors who are feeding the market what they want? How does one who is really interested in depth, who grew around depth, who was influenced by depth, keep on going?
So I think, it ties us back to what I was chatting about earlier, is that depth comes in, because remember we've got that foundation of angst, right? South Africa as a whole, we have these angst, but then somebody from this background is going to have these pockets of angst and this pocket of angst. We have a foundation of angst that all of us have, but then we also all live very different lifestyles which bring different angst. Nobody's angst is more stressful or this or that or whatever, or, you know, so it's about understanding the individuals. Again, it's about understanding there's that foundation, which is, and we can be a consumer of one and go, we all hate load shedding. Klaar verby, like we all hate it, right? But how load shedding impacts me and you and the person, the next person, it's very different. And that's the thing. That's why multiple stories need to be told, because there's multiple reactions and multiple connections that happen.
But are those stories being told in the way that you're putting it right now? And second part of my question would then be, is there a market for those authentic stories?
So I definitely think that there is a market for those authentic stories. I think everything that you do in marketing should check those boxes. It should check the authentic stories, not story. Stories, because I think there's multiple ways of connecting, and there's multiple ways of driving things. And like, for example, I'm looking at the bookshelf behind you, okay? And I'm going, cool, I will read that one, but you, for example, will read this one and that one and not the other one. So where we overlap is amazing, but you've still got to bring those tiny little nuances in for each person's own little thing. Yeah. So we say at the agency, we say that it's a washing line. We hang things on the washing line. So we all know it needs to go on the washing line, but may it be a pair of pants or whatever, it's still being stuck on the same washing line, but it gets hung differently. Yeah.
I'm starting off. I need to make money. You are busy telling me about creating authentic stories and having a base of a washing line. Whereas I know that the people that are making money, because I don't have infinite funds, right? The people that are making the money are the ones that are hanging up a T-shirt with a particular color. And I don't necessarily believe in that color, although I need to make that money and I believe in authentic stories. How do I tap into this interesting field which will enable me to at least make a rand out of whatever's happening in the industry?
So where is the matching pants to that T-shirt?
Very true.
So remember that agency or that person, whoever, has already hung that T-shirt up. So you've got to look at it in a different way of going, cool, where is the pair of pants that go with the
opportunity?
T-shirt?
Yes.
So for example, we have big above the line agencies, and they will do the TVs and this and this and this. But how, as my agency, do I feed into that? How do I connect that TV commercial to whatever I'm doing from a below the line perspective, from a digital perspective? I'm not. That word has lost me today. So how am I gonna connect that? Because I also sometimes can't play against it because I'm going, but TV commercials, spray and pray. But there is messaging in there that I want, sort of from a digital and a below the line, to come through, So there's a connection between that and that, and there's the story being told from this platform to that platform to this platform.
But now my assumption or my decoding of what you're saying is based on probably the above the line agency and my below the line agency servicing one client.
Yes.
But it's not the case. There's this agency that is servicing this giant of a client, and I'm just starting off, and I have my beliefs, and I've found my voice to say, actually, I don't subscribe to the kind of story that you are telling. I subscribe to a different story. How do I approach that giant of an organization to say, well, I think what you're currently doing is not necessarily making the impact that you want. These are the kind of stories that you need to tell. What does that look like?
So Tabi, when you find that, you can tell me, because when it comes to the giant clients, there's been so many approval processes and so many people that it's gone through and so much stuff, and there's been research and there is a lot of belief behind that, even though you may not see it. There is some belief behind that because they've done their due diligence, and that's where it becomes very tough walking into a client and going, I don't think you've done this, because again, they've been working on their brand, they've been churning it, they've been doing this. So if they're going to put a purple pansy in the ad, they've done the research for it. Okay. So I think where we've lost a little bit, I also think it has to do with the digital age, because we're bombarded all the time, is almost, I mean, when we were kids, we would remember TV ads. We still remember TV ads. We still remember TV ads, but we weren't bombarded with everything every single day. And that's a big thing, is that we're bombarded with this information, we're bombarded with ads. I mean, I play Scrabble on an app. And literally after every move is an ad. Every move is an ad. And you think to yourself that it's not affecting me, but it is. Because you're not taking that information in anymore. You've actually shut your brain down to a lot of the stuff, a lot of the connecting to something that's funny or something that's sort of memorable or whatever. I mean, I don't remember the last ad I remember. Being an adult.
Yeah.
Being an adult. As a kid, I can tell you 20 different ads.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I was never bombarded with as much information as I'm being bombarded with now.
But it's great that you're saying that, because it's an insight and it's data-driven. You know this. And is this not something that then should influence the strategy that marketing should take, because everybody wants to be in your face. The latest app now is TikTok. You have to be on TikTok. Whether you're a startup or you're established, there has to be some fun element within your brand that you are exposing on TikTok. But you know that TikTok has so much happening in that
all the
space.
content in the world.
Everybody
you can watch
is
anything about anything.
Exactly. It's like your yellow pages.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right? And then your client comes to you and says, but I want to be on TikTok.
Also, again, it's like a few years ago when every client would come to you and go, I want to go viral. Like, just find something to go viral. And you're going, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with TikTok. It doesn't work like that. I think if a person's interested in your brand, or if they're interested in what you've got to say, then they're going to follow you. But if they're not interested in what you've got to say, or, I don't know, like, for example, if there's a peanut butter brand and I'm allergic to peanuts or allergic to nuts, I'm not going to follow that brand. And I know it's a very, very silly example. But I think, again, that comes back to be authentic, because the people that connect with you will follow you. Don't shove something down somebody's throat, because no matter how much you try, it's not going to work. Yeah, they don't want it. They don't want it. So connect with who you can and how you can. Because, again, it's about the authentic connection of going, they're interested in what I have to say. It's, anybody that you follow, no matter what the platform, you're interested in what they're saying, what they're doing. If, I don't know, they're selling toothpaste and they're brushing their teeth, you're going to follow him because you're interested in what he's doing and how he's doing it. Whereas, like, if I'm not interested in a certain pair of shoe, a certain shoe brand, I'm not going to follow them, because I don't want to. It's not my thing.
Yeah,
it's not my thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what kind of story they tell me. If they tell me, I'm going to give it to you at 10 Rand, I'm still not interested.
So, do you think with the digital age that we're in right now, does traditional media still have space within marketing?
So I think traditional media definitely does. I think, but it's more of a brand umbrella. It's very much a brand umbrella thing. I think, it's brand association. It's having the brand message out there. Whereas I think now, because we have all these amazing tools when it comes to digital and all of that, I think that's where the connection one-on-one starts happening. Driving like A/B testing and that kind of stuff, and driving, certain messages to certain people. I mean, you could have a database of 10, but connecting with those 10 people properly is important.
I think you've shared quite a lot within the space of marketing and how one can navigate around it, and the need for authentic stories that are out there. But I want to take you back to you being the expert that you are. I want to remove you from that right now, and I want you to share your story with me of how you got into this field of marketing and why you've stayed in it for so long, for you to be the expert that you are, who has bagged one of the biggest companies or brands in the country.
I mean, when I was a kid, I loved art. Like, I loved drawing, and I loved, all of those kinds of things. And I actually wanted to study architecture, but unfortunately my maths was
I wanted to be a dermatologist.
My maths was much to be desired, and that didn't happen. So I took a gap year and then decided to go into graphic design, which I studied that.
Before you carry on, it's always interesting when we have such conversations with our counterparts where you are able to say, well, my parents actually allowed me to take a gap year, whereas with black parents,
no.
They're like, what is that?
My mother made me work at the bank. She made me work at the bank And I did tellers and ledgers and inquiries in the branch for about 9 months. So there was no free ride.
Okay.
There was definitely no free ride. There
So
was no sit at home on the couch. I did try. And then she was like, not a chance. That is not happening, lady. You're going to go and work. So yeah, there was no...
So within that
no
9 months,
gap, really.
So within that 9 months, that's when you discovered that.
So I really wanted to apply, but unfortunately I was too late with the application. So it was kind of a forced gap year and a forced working year. And then and then I studied. Then I got my degree and basically in graphic design, bachelor's degree in graphic design. Yeah, and now that's so far from what I do.
As a starting point.
Basically, I started working in a very small agency, and they had some fantastic clients, and we did a lot of packaging, and we did a lot of, and I think, that's where sort of my thrill of design and my love for design comes in, because as you know, I'm very OCD about things being like perfect, and it must be this and that, and then moved to one of the global agencies, and I was like, work on one client, coming from working on like various clients all the time to working on one client all the time, and it just became kind of monotonous. And then I at the very old age of 24, I wanted a new challenge, and I wanted a new thing, and how hard can this be? Yeah, a little did I know how hard it could be.
Yes.
That's kind of where it started. And I think, like I was saying earlier, like everything for me, every day needs to be a school day. I need a challenge all the time. And I'm not an accountant, but I understand our accounts. I'm not a HR specialist, but I understand how things work and all of that. So you bring in sort of people to help you and to grow you. And I think for me, that's a very important thing. And also transferring that knowledge down to the next person, and how to think about it and how to work it and that kind of thing. And I think when you were saying that the baby in Tubby sings, look at the people around you, because they can teach you so many things. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's another marketing manager. It could be a finance manager. It could be a HR person. It could be somebody in sales. And that's the most amazing thing about marketing, is that we need to understand all of that stuff.
Every single thing, yes.
Every little aspect of it. Yes. So that whatever we bring into market, or whatever we say, there's a little bit of this and a little bit of this. It's almost like you take this puzzle and you put it together, and then you display it to your
one big beautiful picture.
Yes. And that's what you want to do. You want to give them one big beautiful picture that's finished and complete.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, is take and absorb as much as what you can.
Yeah. I also want to make clear, though, that marketing is not about creating beautiful pictures. I was just saying.
It's an analogy.
It's just
a metaphor.
Yes. Please.
Whatever you want to call it, please.
Because I know a couple of people will give me a call and say, but you always say it's not about pretty pictures, and it's not. There's a lot.
I've had friends that go, what do you do for a living? Colouring pictures? I'm like, no.
I put beautiful flowers on a table. That's what I get paid for. But so, I mean, you mentioned that you shifted from graphic design to what you do now. What has that shift been? And how did you get to where you are?
So I think it's been quite an organic shift, and it's the minute you own a business, and you need to run a business, there's all those different aspects. As you grow, you employ people. And then it's HR that comes in, and then it's payroll, and then it's this, and then it's maintaining office space and buying coffee and tea and da 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 da. And that's the thing, you become more of a manager than what you do. You're manager. You're not really the doer anymore. And I must admit, I miss doing a lot, and I will be like, I'll take that job on, or whatever the case is, and design it and whatever. Yes. But that's the thing. I mean, it's a natural sort of growth of becoming the person that's sitting behind the desk, doing the beautiful things, creating this, to the person that's managing the clients, managing staff, managing premises, making sure that everything's fine, and understanding the finances, understanding the profit loss, where we're going, what's projections, what's the business strategy, what is our plan for the next year? Where do we see ourselves? Do we see ourselves as a 70-man agency, or do we see ourselves staying where we are? Like all of those kinds of things. And I think, again, the older you get, the more you've learned, the more you go, okay, cool, I can take this on. Whereas I think when you're a little younger, you kind of, the world is small.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the bigger your world gets, and I think the more diverse your skill set gets.
Absolutely.
And I think as a business owner, like, the diversity in your skill set is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we joke about having a business card, and I'm like, on the back of mine, I'm going to have a word search. So you find what I am today.
Yes. I'm very dynamic.
What do you need today?
Yes, I can give you what you need today. So you run a 360 agency. I've had a couple of conversations with people who have said, when you go have conversations with somebody, never pitch your business as a 360 agency, because they'll never take you seriously. How true is that?
I don't think it's true. I think, again, it's about, what does that person need? And if you understand the 360 sort of marketing spectrum, the advertising spectrum, the digital spectrum, I think it's about, what does that potential client need? And can I service that specific need? We've had a car brand where we've done TV ads for them, and radio and all of this, and then we've had a finance brand where we mostly work digital, below the line, that kind of stuff. And it's about servicing what that client needs. Like, I would love to go to my finance brand and go, we can do this TV commercial. We can, and we're going to pull it off amazingly because we've done it for other clients. But that's not their need right now. So it's about understanding and what is that client's angst? It's the same thing as us marketers working for a brand, going, I need to sell this tray of eggs, for example, to these customers. What are their angst about this thing? What is the angst about the product? It's the same thing in marketing, where you're selling a marketing agency. Like, what do you need?
So I'm in Tappy Singh. I've just started a 360 agency. And I'm having a conversation with a startup, right? And then the startup asked me, what do you offer? What conversation do I have with that person? So I don't know what their needs are. I just know
But you do know the needs already, because they're a startup. So you already know that they are going to need this base of stuff. Okay, because that's your first sort of insight to the brief, is going, they're a startup, they are starting from zero. So when you start from zero, what is your basic toolkit that you're going to need? It's these things. So
what is that toolkit?
So yes, Mr. Smith, here is the toolkit I believe that you're going to need.
What would that be, though?
Depends on how much they've started up.
Let's say, let's give different scenarios.
So ground zero, nothing.
And then we're starting from somebody who maybe has been exposed to marketing somehow, and they maybe have your website and all of that. So
I think from the ground zero, guys, you're going to have to go, cool, guys, the brand? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What is our tone? What is our, how are we going to enter the markets? You know, what is our brand personality? What is the strategy going forward? So I think with that kind of startup, and again, budget dependent, they need a big toolbox because this is the foundation of where they're starting. If there is somebody that's already got something like the websites and their logos and all of that kind of stuff, their toolbox is slightly different because they're going, cool. In marketing, there's always you're gonna, in the toolbox, you're gonna need the hammer, you're gonna need the screwdriver, you're gonna need a star and a flat and a blah 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 blah. It's exactly the same. So what is missing from that toolbox? What are we missing? So if we're at ground zero, we're filling that whole toolbox up with everything we need. If we've got 5 pieces in that toolbox, what are the 5 pieces that are missing? And that's what we start filling up, because eventually it's going to be one of those massive things with the drawers and all of that kind of stuff, because that's where you want to get to, is go, I don't need for anything else. You know?
So in essence, one always has data. It might not necessarily be fully in-depth, but at least you've got data. So that data should then influence the conversation that you have.
100%.
You are filling a need or a gap that client has got. Okay, that's great. That's a teachable moment. And then, Jen, if you were to draft a brief about your life, what would that brief look like? What would be the tone of that brief? What would be the soundtrack to that campaign? Who would be the leading lady or gentleman or whatever of that campaign? And where would you actually place it?
It's not an easy one to answer. I think mine would be definitely a thriller, because there's always suspense around the corner, like what's coming. You never know. So a lot of Jaws type music. Dun, 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 dun. And then a couple of violins playing. And then like literally they would change like to house music and everybody would be happy. I'm not sure who would play it. And there's no leading anybody. It's kind of just
different characters at different points.
Yes, different characters at different points that are coming in, coming out, and revisiting and that kind of stuff. And it's definitely, it would be a very interesting story. And I think, it would be even the tonality of it would be fun and crazy, and just like you'd be like, oh, they didn't say that kind of thing. But they did. So almost like a thriller comedy. I would place it in, because there are a lot of laughs. There's always been a lot of laughs, but there's always been that like,
what
just happened?
And what would be the leading message of your campaign?
So I think my leading message would be, every day is a school day. You never know what's coming. So, be prepared as much as what you can. And don't sweat the small stuff. Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now about people, like massive anxiety and massive everything. And I think, we do get anxious, and we constantly, I mean, we were joking the other day, and I was sent this little meme about this. So the one hamster is running and the other one's just like falling all over the place. And I was like, this is us kind of thing. And there are going to be days like that. But I think, just take a step back. You've always got to take a step back and just be like, breathe. And sometimes don't let it into your bubble. Let the chaos just stay outside your bubble for a little bit. As long as what you can, let it stay outside your bubble. Because at the end of the day, you've got to be sort of the best that you can be, and sweating the small stuff means that you are literally drowning in the nonsense.
Very true.
So don't drown in the nonsense. Just go, cool, like take a breath from it and be like, okay, let's just try and just see the wood for the trees. Take that step back.
So in you having the wealth of knowledge that you have, consistently learning, which one should, you wanting to scale your business, being worried about that, there's also another part of your life, being this wonderful 9-year-old that you're raising. How do you balance the two? Does one suffer over the other, or what is it?
So I think it is about balancing. So it's always a scale, but for me it's having an incredible support structure, and I don't just mean family and friends. I mean the team that I've got within the agency. If something needs to be done or something needs to be picked up or something, if I'm about to drop a ball on something, somebody is there and that has my back. And they are consistently all the time just sort of, we are a team. If for example, I'll get stuck into design when I need to with the guys because it's going cool, like let me help, let me do this, and vice versa. I mean, my account managers are incredible in the sense of going, cool, let me take that from you. Yeah, I know you got to take your daughter to swimming or whatever the case is. Let me take that from you, and then I'll send it back to you later tonight, and then you can pick it up again.
Yeah.
So your support structure is not just about family and friends, and I mean they're incredible as well. But it's about having that support structure within the business as well, because we're all human, and we all want to balance life and work. And I mean, we made a concerted effort when we sort of started the agency to go, we don't want everybody to work late. Yes, it's advertising and it's marketing, and there will be stages. I mean, we're currently working like crazies on a massive campaign, but for the rest of the year, it doesn't happen because we want you to go home. We want you to have that balance with your family. We want, a lot of the people that are in the agency have kids, and a lot of them, have hobbies and stuff like that. And it's important to have that sort of culture of going, it's all fair and well having drinks at work or whatever the case is, but I don't want you here all the time. I want you to go have fun with your friends and your family and the people you love. And it's the same thing with me, is I don't want to be at the agency all the time. I don't want to be working all the time because I want to be with the people that I love, and I want to enjoy, my friends and my family and watching my daughter grow and laughing and joking with her and spending evenings with her watching random TV shows. And I think it's important. It's important to just be like, guys, it is a job, and we love our job. We love it, but there has to be,
some form of balance.
There's got to be boundaries, and
that's the right word.
There's got to be boundaries of going, these are my boundaries, and even in a business situation, these are boundaries. And guys, I can't expect my studio to work all weekend because you briefed me at 4:00 on Friday.
So valid. I can see my guys at the back. They're also nodding. That's great. Great boss. Great boss. In the time that I've known you and when we interact, we're consistently laughing. And I don't want to paint a picture to the people that are listening to us or watching us, which is not necessarily true, in the sense that when running a business is always laughs, kikis, and it's always joyful. I'm interested in the not so great periods in you running this agency. What have those been? What do they look like? How did you overcome them, and how did you get back to the part where you kiki and all of that?
So, I mean, there's been a lot of things. So when I took a break from running the agency many years ago, the straw that broke the camel's back was a client that literally stole a pitch strategy.
That happens.
Yes,
all the time.
A lot. And I mean, it's happened to us a couple of times where, you know, we've put things forward and all of a sudden it's live and it's
out
this
there,
and
but
it's out
you are
there.
not running it.
No,
Yes.
no, not at all. And you kind of go like, and I think, you know, for me, that's probably one of the hardest things because you want to go and be proactive. You want to say to your clients, I've got this incredible idea and here you go, we're putting it forward. And you put your blood, and especially when it comes to pitches, you put your blood, sweat and tears into that. And it costs the agency a lot of money.
A lot of money, true.
A hell of a lot of money. And then all of a sudden you see it on screen and going and whatever. And you think to yourself, you know, like, and you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because if you don't pitch it, you're not going to get the
business.
You're not going to get the opportunity.
Yes.
But if you do pitch it, you have some clients that will go, oh, sorry, you haven't won anything, but it's okay. And take it. So I think for me, that's one of my hardest things being in this industry is that. And then, you know, there's it's a business, and like any other business, there's the pressure of profitability, there's the pressure of overheads, there's the pressure of, you know, staff well-being, and I mean, it's us or any other sort of company. We have the same sort of base pressures that everybody has, and yeah, and I think for me, it's just, you know, it's keeping clients happy, but within my boundaries, within the agency's boundaries, at least, you know. I'm all for let's sort of get in there and get going and this and that and this and that. But like I was saying earlier, I'm not there to be briefed at 4:00 to make my guys stay the whole weekend. Like that for me is not okay, because at the end of the day, nothing is a surprise. It's not like somebody woke up and went, shit, we need sales by Monday morning, so this has to be done over the weekend. It never works like that. So, you know, but I also, like, it's very far and few between that we do have that kind of thing happening. And I'll just say no. It's not okay. So yeah, so
and if you were to find yourself in a similar situation where you pitch and then your client steals the idea and not give you the job, how would you deal with it now, with what you know?
Now I have a very big mouth.
Okay, you found your voice.
I've found my voice, and I've found my inner Hulk.
Yes. I think we had an experience like that ages
we
ago.
Did have
we worked on something, and then we discovered it.
It went wayside.
It really did.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So we've gone through it.
Yes.
So, Jen, in closing, what would you want to be remembered for in the industry?
I suppose for me, it is that good results, good work that had results, that achieved and overachieved what it needed to. That for me is a big thing. It's not about the pretty pictures. It's about doing great work and overachieving.
Yeah, because you're always hard on yourself. I don't know about this overachieving thing, but anyway.
Overachiever.
In South Africa or in Africa, to you, which brand tells the best stories? I don't want to get you in trouble with the brands that you take care of, but who has nailed it in telling the authentic stories that resonate with what is happening in in the country, and there are different things that are happening in the country.
So for me, I mean, it's the humor of Nando's. It really is. They're always in it. They're always on it. It just, and it is authentic.
Yeah.
It's like if something happens today, they'll be on it today.
Yes.
You know, so for me, it's somebody like a Nando's, which just kind of like, and it's funny, and it's lighthearted, and it gives us sort of like talking points and that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so much stress and pressure and doom and gloom and all of the rest of it right now, that I think their lightheartedness and the digging at everybody, but kind of like, you know, roundabout way is one of my favorites.
So then I'm going to be very controversial. You run your own agency, and I think I might know the answer to this, but just humor me. Then why are you not exploring that and pitching it to your clients?
Because the brands I work for do not have that brand personality.
I thought so.
You have to be true to the brand and the brand personality. You can't go in there and pitch something like that to a very corporate client, because at the end of the day, even if they go with it, they're not being authentic to their brand.
Correct. So. Which brand campaign has stayed with you from the time that you were young, and why? I'm not talking about you now being the guru that you are, but when you were young, and I think it's probably a brand that also influenced you in walking this journey of being a marketer.
I think a big thing for me as a kid was probably something like KTV. Because it was so aimed at children, and it was for children, by children, and I think, you know, like the entertainment factor and all of those kinds of things, and the presenters, and everybody was just, you know, like on a Saturday morning, and the parents, they had the best life then, because 8 o'clock you'd be sitting in front of the TV because you only knew you had TV for so long. Yes. Not like now where they're like, oh, can Netflix anything for any time. And I think, you know, for me, as a kid, it was just that, and again, that's on my level. Yes. And talking to me.
To you. Resonated.
That's the perfect word. Resonated with me. I mean, my parents would never watch it, but it was resonated with me. And even the way they advertised it and the way they did things.
And the colours, I remember.
Yeah, everything popped. And it was just, it was amazing. Yeah. And I think for me, that's a brand I remember. And then, I mean, you know, there's
Who did that? Who took care of that? Which agency did that? Do you know?
I think it was an internal Mnet thing.
Ah.
Yeah.
No, but I think, Mnet probably had an agency working for them on that. But yes, thank you, Jen. Sure, this conversation was amazing. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And I think we could go on and on and on, but we have to stop at some point. But I think there should be a second part to this, because there's a lot that we need to unpack within the industry of marketing. With all the noise, we still need to figure out how we stand out as brands and how we maintain market share and deliver the results that are expected of us. But all in all, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.